Before Jacob and Esau were born, before they had done anything good or bad to prove themselves or to disqualify themselves, God chose Jacob. Paul underscored that God's choice was not because of any meritorious works on Jacob's part, but it was because of him who calls into service. This is primarily what prompted the question the issues in verse 14. Now, some in the Jewish synagogues, as Paul would engage in his ministry, would object. And let's remember that Paul is not theorizing. Paul is not philosophizing here. He's bringing up arguments that he encountered in his extensive synagogue ministry. And so, as Paul taught week by week, as he reasoned week by week in the synagogues with his people, as the book of Acts shows us, he undoubtedly was asked a question like this. If God's choice was not because Jacob was a better man than Esau, then that choice was arbitrary or unjust, Paul. Now, we don't believe that God is unjust, and so he must have chosen Jacob because he saw Jacob to be worthy and Esau unworthy. But Paul was clear, and he was rock solid in his convictions. God's choice was not because of works. And because Paul stood firm in his conviction, his opponents would object, and they would accuse him of teaching a view of God that presented God as arbitrary or unjust. And so Paul would find it necessary to explain why God's choice of Jacob was not an act of injustice. Thus we have verses 14 through 16 in Romans chapter 9.